Good evening and thanks very much for being with us. I'm Brittany Ramsey. We begin tonight with the district's latest COVID-19 numbers. The active case count continues its steady fall after it peaked more than 2 weeks ago. 29 new infections were reported today. However, 27 come from the Thunder Bay area and 2 others are from elsewhere in the district. 10 are a result of close household contact, while 10 others come from close contact outside the home. The remaining 9 have unknown exposures. The total case count now sits at 2,661. 305 are considered active. That's down once again from 325 yesterday. The number of COVID patients at the regional hospital has also dipped slightly, down to 35. 9 are in the ICU. The overall occupancy rate is about 80%. Meanwhile, Ontario is reporting 1,546 new cases today, and Premier Ford says the government is looking to achieve a high vaccination rate among those most vulnerable, especially seniors. Given the large number of seniors who have been reluctant to register for a vaccination, family doctors will soon be tapped to help administer shots. Colin DeMello has more.
The Premier says he wants 100% of those 80 plus to get their COVID-19 vaccine. In order to do that, though, he says the province might start relying on mobile vaccination teams and family physicians to get the word and the doses out. With hundreds of thousands of elderly Ontarians yet to be vaccinated, the government is being grilled on outreach.
What is the government's plan to make sure every senior over the age of 80 who wants a vaccination is able to get vaccinated?
The Premier says he wants to achieve a high vaccination rate among those most vulnerable.
Our goal is to make sure that we reach out to every single senior, 80 plus, to make sure we fill that gap. We also have mobile units going to areas which have a tremendous amount of seniors right across this province. So we're going to continue making sure we hit that threshold of 100% very, very shortly.
The government is acknowledging seniors with underlying health issues might feel more comfortable with their family physicians. Those doctors will soon be tapped to administer the vaccine.
As we increase the volumes of vaccines going into primary care centres, we will see more seniors going in to receive their vaccines there, or if they're homebound, to make sure that home care nurse will be able to deliver the vaccine to them.
But family doctors are wondering when.
We've heard those same signals from government, that they have mentioned getting primary care, the whole sector, and family doctors involved. To this point, we do not have clarity on how this is going to roll out locally.
Family doctors have been a key part of the initial rollout, from vaccinations in long-term care and retirement homes to mass clinics. The government has so far tasked 40 doctors to deliver the AstraZeneca vaccine, and family physicians are asking to be even more involved.
That might look like us vaccinating in our office. That might look like drive-throughs that we organize. That might look like several clinics joining together to open up what I would call a mini mass clinic. So, we are here. We really are telling the government, you should lean on us.
Family doctors say anxious patients have been contacting them, looking for when their personal care provider is going to have the vaccine in stock. The College of Family Physicians say those family doctors could also help combat vaccine hesitancy because of the long-standing and existing relationship between the patient and their doctor. At Queen's Park, Colin DeMello, CTV News.
Local MPP Judith Monteith-Farrell is once again calling on the Ford government to declare Thunder Bay a pandemic hotspot. The controversial omission of our city from the list of 13 hotspots has been a bone of contention for several weeks now. Health Minister Christine Elliott noted that case numbers in Thunder Bay are on the decline, but Monteith-Farrell says frontline workers are being overworked and the government needs to do more.
My constituents are upset and angry, and they want this government to do something. Small businesses that have been shut for months are desperate. People are frustrated by the lack of vaccine appointments available. Will you, Premier, through you, Speaker, declare Thunder Bay a COVID-19 hotspot and get this situation under control?
We did receive 466,830 doses of the Pfizer vaccine yesterday. Those are going to be sent to the public health units based on their population and based on their need. So if there's still a significant need in Thunder Bay, there will be additional volumes of vaccines that will be sent there.
Thunder Bay City Council has finalized its decision not to award the contract for the controversial turf facility for Chapels Park. The original decision was ratified last night by the same 7-5 margin as the initial vote 2 weeks ago. Local company Tom Jones submitted the low bid at around $37 million. That number rose to $39 million after contingency, but the true cost to the city was expected to have been about $46 million paid out over 25 years due to interest on a $16.6 million loan that would have been taken out to help cover the upfront cost. Mayor Bill Morrow made it clear that last night was not the time to redebate the project.
If a councillor wants to bring something forward relative to this item to provide further direction on the ratified position of council, that would happen at Committee of the Whole on March 29th. Is that correct?
That's correct.
It's unclear if any councillors plan to bring a motion forward next week if the project isn't dead just yet, as council did give direction last summer to move forward with a turf facility. This most recent decision was only a rejection of this specific contract. Now, that wasn't the only infrastructure-related decision that council made last night. Councillors also unanimously agreed to move forward with public consultation on a proposed skate park for the former Dees Pool site and approved detailed design and construction work to redevelop nearby Dees Park. Ryan Benazzo has the rundown of council's jam-packed agenda.
The public will now play a major role in deciding whether or not a new skateboard and wheel sports park will be constructed at the former Dees Pool site. Councillor Brian Hamilton, who represents the area, says he's spoken to a number of youth who are excited about the possibility.
There's lots of support. If you pull up on any kids on BMXs, they're going to tell you they're very, very interested.
Public consultation could begin next month. Administration will also move forward with detailed design and construction of a boarded rink and other amenities at Dees Park across the street. The city has just over $250,000 set aside to redevelop the property and is awaiting word on additional federal funding to accelerate the work.
Next, we have 2021 council remuneration increase.
Also on Monday, councillors gave themselves a slight pay raise. The 0.55% bump is half the rate of inflation in the city. Councillors will get an additional $190 this year, while the mayor's salary will increase by $575. Some expressed discomfort voting on their own increase, but Rebecca Johnson says it's completely reasonable.
I'm not ashamed to be able to say I make a good remuneration for being a city councillor, but I put in a heck of a lot of time, and I really feel that that is something that we need to be recognized for.
The mayor was the only one to vote against the increase. City Council is required under the Municipal Act to set its own salaries. The landscaping inside the new roundabout set to be constructed this year at Edward Street and Redwood Avenue will be ringed by asphalt painted in the style of an Indigenous medicine wheel.
This very large project that's happening just a few blocks from DFC, one of the Anishinaabe Nation territory's largest schools. So I thought it was a good opportunity, and I do have the backing of the Elders Advisory Committee as well as engineering.
Council also approved a new transfer payment agreement with the province, unlocking up to $4 million in additional transit relief money for 2021.
That's carried.
And council voted to register 389 properties for tax arrears. The city has owed more than $4.3 million in back taxes since 2019. Ryan Benazzo, TBT News.
Thunder Bay City planners are worried that the neighboring municipality of Shunya is laying the groundwork for large-scale regional commercial development outside the city boundary. Shunya Mayor Wendy Landry understands why that's gotten the attention of the city, but isn't backing down.
What's good for the region is good for Thunder Bay, and what's good for Thunder Bay is good for the region.
Shunya Council approved its official plan last fall, but it's still under review by the Ministry of Municipal Affairs. The plan singles out major intersections within the municipality as appropriate locations for larger scale developments. Thunder Bay City Planner Leslie McEachern says what Shunya is proposing does not align with or support Thunder Bay's role as the regional economic and service hub. The City Planning Division has already urged the Ministry of Municipal Affairs to modify the commercial policies of the plan before it's approved. And Landry feels that doesn't give Shunya a fair shake.
Any of our surrounding municipalities should be put in a position where it's Thunder Bay first and Thunder Bay centric. And I think that's not being neighborly. And I think that we should be able to work together as communities that are looking to thrive in the Northwest. And opportunities are hard to come by as it is. And if we're working together, then it's more of a collaborative approach and it's a win-win situation for everybody.
There's been speculation in the past that Costco has looked at the option of building a store on Shunya's side of the boundary. But Landry says Costco has not approached the municipality about any of the property it owns. The Thunder Bay Chamber of Commerce and other Ontario chambers are calling on the Ford government to revise the COVID-19 operating framework for businesses. The chambers have sent a letter to Premier Doug Ford and various Ontario ministers outlining their two-pronged approach. Their proposals are meant to ensure safe business operations, reduce community contacts, and allow for all businesses to be open at a capacity basis. Thunder Bay Chamber President Charlotte Robinson says they believe there are always ways for businesses to operate safely, depending on the color code.
The green zone, which is the most, open zone, would be at 100% capacity based on whatever those COVID rules are. But then you could move it down to, when you go to the yellow zone, you could move it down so it's 80% capacity. Going to up to the next phase, which is orange, that would reduce to 60 people. Going up to red would reduce to, say, 40 people. And then again under gray, you would have a store that would normally be able to have 100 people down to 25 people in the store at any given time. So that would give plenty of room to reduce those contacts, but would still allow that business to remain open.
Robinson says they're still waiting to hear back from the Premier, but feel confident that their proposed plan will help address COVID-19, increase consumer confidence, and reduce undue harm to the economy. The longtime owner of Starlight Flooring says he's looking to get his business back operating again in a new location following Friday night's fire that destroyed its current building. Kayla Karim has more.
Starlight Flooring has been in operation for just over 50 years, including the last 12 years leasing out space in the century-old Mackey block on the corner of Bay and Macker. Owner Andy Coolify was shocked to hear on Friday evening that the building was on fire.
We were having our supper, we just finished, and a friend of my wife's phoned, who lives in Waverly Park Towers, says your shop's on fire. And we thought she was joking. But she says, no, really, it is on fire. So we drove down right away to see all the fire trucks here. I was shocked.
Coolify says close to $300,000 in equipment and stock was lost. The business and its 5 employees still have some existing flooring jobs to complete, but after that, everything is up in the air. Right now, he is focused on looking for another place to relocate his business.
I haven't found a place that I have real estate people looking.
Meanwhile, the adjacent building that is home to many businesses, including Sales Superior, did not experience any significant internal damage. Owner of Sales Superior, Gregory Heroux, says he appreciates the efforts of the city firefighters in keeping the fire from spreading.
Firemen were on site already, putting tons and tons of water on it, which was luckily. The building is next to ours, and the wind was blowing a little bit away from ours, and all they did was make sure that ours didn't catch. A lot of water came into the basement, and we got smoke. That is, prevalent throughout. You can smell the rubble outside and the smoke, but that's in our buildings and it's very damp. So we've got some machines on there, some hydroxyl machines to dry things off.
The fire is being treated as an arson, as fire officials determined it began in a garbage can connected to an upstairs apartment unit. Kayla Karim, TBT News.
Anyone who's noticed that the sidewalks around Grandview Mall are a little cleaner today, you have a local 91-year-old to thank. This is Reno Cavisto, and a few times a week he takes his wheelchair, a reaching tool, and a few litter bags and cleans up his area. At first, he would pick up trash around his Madeline Street apartment complex, but last summer he decided to expand. He now covers several blocks from Wayland Street to the Tim Hortons on River Street, decluttering both sides of the roadway. The soon-to-be 92-year-old has filled 7 grocery bags with garbage this week. He says he does it for something productive to do while hopefully preventing plastic from reaching the lake.
It looks so bad when you got all them cigarette butts and papers and oodles of, especially the ones I try to pick up is the plastics that that go into the sewer because they're dangers for wildlife and fish.
Visto says if he could tell the public one thing, it's to hold on to your cigarette butts and loose trash until you get to the nearest garbage bin. He's right. Kudos to you. Shipping vessels are now starting to move around the Thunder Bay Harbor, and they're getting help from the Canadian Coast Guard icebreaker Samuel Risley, which arrived at the port earlier this morning. Risley continued the work started last week by the U.S. Coast Guard cutter the Alder, clearing more ice around the turning basins of the local grain elevators. Commanding Officer Pascal Pellerin says the local shipping season can begin on schedule this week with the help of the Risley.
The way the vessels are built, they have issues going through unimpeded through the ice, and they'll need our assistance. Basically like a floating snowplow. We just open the way for them, ease the traffic, and make sure that the safety of the vessel, safety in the navigation, they don't run aground, they're not pushed all over the place. They can stay in their way. We open the track for them, so it's basically track maintenance or close escort depending on the ice conditions.
One of the vessels which spent the winter at Kiefer Terminal, the Algoma Strongfield, was able to leave the dock this afternoon and head to the Richardson Terminal to pick up a load of grain. Harbor Master Guy Jarvis says the first 3 arriving vessels could be here by Friday, with 10 more ships expected to arrive in the port by the end of the month.
I had to climb to the very top of one of those once with a camera on my